In a quiet, transformative night, Lucas and his mother faced emotions that forever altered the course of their relationship. As years of challenges and silence weighed heavily on their bond, a late-night conversation led to an intimate, unspoken understanding. Beneath the surface of typical mother-son affection, a deeper connection unfolded, one that transcended conventional love, leaving them to confront a newfound and uncharted realm of affection. Their bond shifted, evolving into something both thrilling and complicated as they navigated the delicate balance between familial ties and a connection that defied explanation. Welcome to Forbidden Hearts, a series of truths revealed. Before we dive into this fascinating story, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, like this video, and share your thoughts in the comments section below. Your participation helps us bring you more compelling stories. Thank you, and have a truly enjoyable experience. That Friday night unfolded with an intensity that etched itself into my memory, an experience so vivid and unforgettable that it will forever resonate within me. In the stillness of the house, a serene tranquility enveloped me, bringing forth an uncommon sense of peace. After a long week, weariness enveloped me, and all I craved was the sweet embrace of sleep. As I settled into the stillness, I believed that nothing could break the serene embrace of the night. For 8 long years, I walked the path of a single mother, ever since the day my marriage came to an end. Once upon a time, my ex-husband and I shared a bond that was not fraught with animosity. Rather, we simply drifted in different directions as life unfolded. Raising my son Lucas alone was a journey filled with both immense joy and formidable challenges unlike anything I had ever experienced. He was my world, a blend of wit, intelligence, and warmth that filled my days with joy. Yet it was a challenge to embody both the nurturing mother and the guiding father. That night, exhaustion enveloped me like a heavy blanket, leaving me with just enough strength to slip into my pajamas before surrendering to the embrace of sleep. In the stillness of the house, a profound silence enveloped every corner, as if time itself had paused to listen. After a long night filled with video games and the diligent completion of his homework, Lucas finally succumbed to the embrace of sleep, retreating to his bed hours earlier. At last, a precious moment of solitude enveloped me in my room. As the moonlight danced through the delicate, wavy curtains, it painted gentle shadows that whispered secrets upon the walls. As I nestled beneath the cozy blanket, a wave of warmth enveloped me, and my thoughts began to drift freely, exploring the realms of imagination. In recent times, life had settled into a serene rhythm, a welcome contrast to the tumultuous journey of the past year. Lucas and I had weathered many storms since his father departed, yet we had crafted a fulfilling life together. Even as Lucas approached his 20th year, our bond remained unbreakable. He possessed a heart full of kindness and a mind that always considered the feelings of others. At times, I found myself concerned that he bore a weight of responsibility far beyond what one so young should carry. A smile crept across my face as memories of him danced in my mind. His kindness was a gentle light, and I felt fortunate to have him woven into the fabric of my life. Yet, as the night unfolded, weariness enveloped me, leaving my mind in a haze. A weight settled upon me, pulling me into a drowsy embrace. Suddenly, a gentle tap echoed through the quiet of my bedroom door. I woke up a little, thinking it was part of a dream. Yet again, a gentle knock echoed through the stillness, pulling me from the depths of slumber into full awareness. "Mother!" Lucas's voice was soft, but it held a power that stirred me from my slumber. I blinked, trying to focus on the door. In the soft glow spilling from the hallway, Lucas's silhouette emerged, casting a mysterious figure against the shadows. I propped myself up, striving to shake off the remnants of sleep. "Lucas, what troubles your heart?" I inquired, my voice heavy with slumber. He lingered for a moment at the threshold, then stepped into the room, gently shutting the door with a soft click. He appeared hesitant about stepping inside. I couldn't sleep," he murmured, his gaze cast downward as he lingered by my bedside. There was a palpable tension in the air, a shadow of unease that lingered around him. Ever since the divorce, I couldn't shake the feeling that something deeper was troubling his heart. In the quiet hours of the night, Lucas often found himself wrestling with sleep, a struggle he seldom shared with others. I sensed the pain of his father's departure lingered deep within him, a silent wound he rarely revealed. This evening, the sorrow in his gaze was unmistakable. "Come here," I whispered gently, invitingly patting the empty space beside me on the bed. "If you wish, you may find a place beside me tonight." After a brief pause, he approached and settled down next to me. There he lay, turned towards me, and in the soft glow of the fading light, his weariness was unmistakable. He appeared exposed, a rare sight for someone like him. "Would you like to share your thoughts on it?" I inquired softly. Lucas shook his head, his dark hair cascading over his eyes like a curtain of shadows. My heart yearned for his presence, to feel the warmth of his closeness. A gentle warmth enveloped my heart. It had been some time since Lucas had yearned for closeness with me, reminiscent of his younger days. With a gentle touch, I swept his hair aside from his forehead, a smile gracing my lips as I looked at him. "It's all right," I murmured softly, resting my hand gently on his shoulder. "Feel free to linger for as long as your heart desires." He returned the smile, yet there was a flicker in his eyes, a shadow of something unspoken, a weight he chose to keep to himself. I chose not to inquire about it. Instead, I reclined once more, drawing the blanket around us like a protective cocoon, allowing the stillness to wrap us in its soothing embrace. We lingered in that moment, savoring the tranquility that enveloped us. Lucas's breathing became a gentle rhythm, and I wondered if he had drifted into slumber. But then his voice emerged, soft and delicate, breaking the stillness. His voice was barely a whisper, almost lost in the air. "Mother, do you ever find yourself longing for him?" His question caught me off guard, yet I understood he was referring to his father. For years it lingered in the shadows, a question I had deftly sidestepped, unsure of how to unravel its complexities. "I occasionally do," I confessed softly, "yet the bond between us was strained, Lucas." He gave a nod, yet I sensed a deeper curiosity within him, a yearning for more understanding. "Have you ever pondered how the threads of fate might have woven a different tale?" he inquired with a heavy heart. I reflected on the shadows of my past, pondering over the regrets that lingered. Yet the truth remains, the sands of time cannot be altered. It is time for us to embark on the next chapter of our journey. Lucas's gaze fell, his fingers tracing the soft edge of the blanket, lost in thought. "I find myself pondering whether there was a different path I could have taken, a way to have been more than I was," he said. His words pierced my heart like a sharp arrow. I propped myself up and turned to meet his gaze. "Lucas, this was not a burden you should carry. There was nothing amiss in your actions," I spoke with utmost seriousness. He turned his gaze, his voice barely a murmur. At times a thought lingers in my mind, whispering that perhaps, if I had been different, maybe my father would have chosen to stay. With a rush of emotion, I felt the warmth of tears welling up as I embraced him fiercely. For a fleeting moment he held back, but soon he embraced me, pressing his face into my shoulder. "Lucas, lend me your ear," I urged, my voice trembling with emotion. "Your father charted his own path. It was never about you. He made that choice, and it was never yours to bear. From the very beginning, you have always been everything I could ever need, Lucas," I murmured, my voice brimming with affection and comfort. "You mean the world to me." He leaned against my shoulder, yet I could still feel the tightness in him, the burden of countless unvoiced sorrows and regrets lingering in the air. We embraced tightly, the quiet around us, wrapping us in a soothing embrace. Slowly he surrendered to the embrace of slumber, his body unwinding, breaths growing deeper as he slipped into the realm of dreams. Yet as he lay in tranquil slumber beside me, my mind danced with a whirlwind of thoughts and memories, swirling like shadows in the night. We had both faced countless trials, and yet in the gentle solace of that shared embrace, an unforeseen emotion began to awaken within me, a feeling I struggled to define. A warmth blossomed within my chest, a connection that transcended the ordinary ties between a mother and her son, weaving a tapestry of intimacy and depth. I attempted to push it aside, concentrating instead on the cadence of his breath, yet the sensation lingered, an unyielding murmur that would not fade into the background. As the first light of morning crept in, it softly brushed the room with delicate shades, awakening the world from its slumber. Lucas lay beside me, his face a canvas of tranquility, the worries of the night before melting away into the soft embrace of slumber. I observed him for a moment, my heart brimming with affection and pride. Yet, that strange sensation remained, a constant whisper beneath the warmth of my nurturing love. With the softest of movements, I eased myself out of bed, mindful of the stillness beside me, and quietly descended the stairs to begin the morning ritual of breakfast preparation. The comforting rhythm of cooking wrapped around me like a warm blanket, yet my mind wandered back to the whispers of our late-night conversation, lingering like a haunting melody. Lucas had always been attuned to his feelings, yet I had not fully grasped how deeply his father's absence had affected him. The burden of his guilt pressed down on my heart like a heavy stone, a weight I longed to lift. Yet it wasn't merely the deed that haunted my thoughts, it was the gaze he had cast upon me that remained etched in my memory. In his eyes, there was a vulnerability that spoke volumes, an unvoiced yearning for something beyond the ordinary. If I were to be truthful, the warmth I experienced while holding him ignited a profound feeling within me, a bond that reached far beyond the confines of our family ties. I endeavored to cast aside the thought, reminding myself that he was my son, yet the feeling lingered, a relentless whisper that would not be quieted any time soon. Lucas awoke from his dreams, his hair a wild mess, his tall, slender figure still echoing the remnants of youth. In his eyes, a spark of newfound maturity glimmered, revealing the essence of the man he was destined to become. With a warm smile, I welcomed him, concealing the echoes of the previous night's emotions that still danced in my heart. As the sun peeked through the curtains, I gently nudged him awake, a steaming plate of pancakes waiting to greet him. As the sun began to rise, he let out a soft murmur, finding his place in the familiar embrace of his chair. While he eagerly dove into his morning meal, we shared a meal in a tranquil hush, each bite steeped in unspoken connection. As the sun began to rise, its gentle rays spilled into the kitchen, wrapping the space in a cozy embrace. His gaze would occasionally drift toward me, a silent acknowledgement of the unspoken events of the previous night that I decided to leave untouched. He appeared to be more at ease, more like his true self, and I was reluctant to disturb the delicate tranquility we had finally discovered. As silence enveloped us, he spoke, his voice soft but clear. "Grateful for last night, Mom. That was just what I needed." His vulnerability took me by surprise. "No need for gratitude from you, Lucas. My unwavering support for you will never falter, come what may," I replied, my voice steady with reassurance. He nodded, yet his eyes stayed locked on mine, a silent inquiry hanging in the atmosphere, waiting to be voiced. Uncertainty clouded my thoughts as I pondered the delicate transformation unfolding between us. In his eyes, a new intensity flickered, a deep yearning for a connection that reached beyond the conventional ties of mother and son. And within me, a part I had long kept hidden stirred, echoing that same longing. After breakfast, he lingered at the counter, his fingers dancing over the surface, weaving invisible tales in the grains of the countertop. "Have you ever pondered how the threads of fate might have woven a different tale?" he inquired softly, his tone laden with unexpressed feelings. With a heavy heart, I let out a sigh as the shadows of bygone choices loomed over me. "Perhaps," my words were gentle, "yet the past remains unalterable. Our only path is to forge ahead." Lucas nodded, his eyes locked onto his fidgeting fingers, each movement telling a tale of its own. "There are moments when I find myself pondering whether there was a better path I could have taken. You know," his voice floated softly, tinged with a heavy sense of guilt and self-reproach. His words cut through me like a sharp blade, compelling me to extend my hand toward him. With a tender touch, I rested my hand on his shoulder, inviting him into a warm embrace. "Lucas, you haven't done anything amiss. This was never on you." I offered him comfort, my voice heavy with feeling. He averted his gaze, his voice a mere whisper. At times, a whisper of doubt creeps in, suggesting that perhaps if I had been different, the outcome might have changed, and Dad would have stayed. As I drew him nearer, emotions surged within me, and my eyes brimmed with unshed tears. Holding him close with all my strength, he hesitated for a heartbeat, then yielded to the warmth, pressing his face into my shoulder. "Lucas, hear me out," I urged, my tone steady and resolute. "Your father's decisions belonged solely to him. You have always been more than sufficient, just as you are. His departure was not influenced by your presence." He nodded slowly, his body melting into mine, the tightness in his shoulders unwinding as he surrendered to the warmth of the embrace. Once more, that strange warmth surged inside me, a blend of relief, affection, and an unmistakable bond that tied us together. The connection we shared, initially framed by the titles of mother and son, appeared to be transforming, blossoming into an unfamiliar yet palpable essence, something neither of us could entirely grasp, yet both sensed deeply within. In that fleeting instant, I embraced him tightly, allowing the silence to stretch, free from inquiries or justifications. Uncertainty loomed over the path of our blossoming closeness, yet I felt the winds of change stirring, signaling that our lives were on the brink of transformation, and this was merely the dawn of our journey. In the stillness of the night, wrapped in the comforting cocoon of my son's arms, a deep understanding unfolded within me. The fragile equilibrium of our bond was in flux, poised on the edge of a fresh and unknown journey. A shiver of unease ran through me, a soft murmur of doubt about the implications this change could hold for us. Yet, in the midst of the unease, there lingered an unmistakable thrill, a dawning realization that this was just the first step into uncharted territory. Dawn crept in with a tender touch as the delicate fingers of sunlight danced through the curtains, gently awakening me from my dreams. Beside me, in the quiet of the night, Lucas lay in a deep slumber, his expression calm and untroubled, as if the weight of yesterday had drifted away into the ether. I observed him for a moment, my heart brimming with a deep, nurturing affection. Yet, beneath that familiar warmth, an uncharted feeling flowed, an emotion I struggled to articulate. A curious sensation lingered at the fringes of my mind, much like the night before, stirring a blend of intrigue and unease within me. With the softest of movements, I eased myself from the warmth of the bed, ensuring not to rouse him from his peaceful dreams. I descended the stairs, drawn by the comforting ritual of preparing breakfast, a dance I knew all too well. As I stood at the stove, flipping pancakes with a rhythm that felt almost instinctual, my mind wandered back to the whispers of our late-night conversation. Lucas had always been a gentle spirit, yet I had not fully understood the profound nature of his inner turmoil, the burden of his father's absence, the guilt that lingered like a shadow, a secret tucked away for far too long, now pressed down on my heart with a profound heaviness. Yet the tale held deeper layers than what met the eye. In that moment, I noticed a change in him, a deep longing as he sought refuge in my embrace, a desire for a connection that went beyond the usual ties of mother and son. And if I were to speak my truth, I had sensed it as well, a warmth that enveloped me when I held him, a solace that transcended mere maternal instinct. I set the thought aside, directing my attention to the task before me. "He's merely a boy," I whispered to myself, "the young lad of yours." Yet, the sensation remained, an unwavering murmur that would not fade away. At long last, Lucas stirred from his deep slumber, his hands instinctively brushing away the remnants of sleep from his weary eyes. With hair tousled and a visage that spoke of youthful innocence, there lingered a newfound maturity in his gaze, whispering of the man he was destined to become. With a warm smile, I welcomed him, trying to conceal the emotions that still clung to me from the night before. "Ah, the dawn breaks, and here you are, still wrapped in the embrace of dreams," I sang, setting a plate of golden pancakes before him. As the sun peeked through the curtains, he let out a soft murmur, sinking into his chair with anticipation, ready to savor each bite of his breakfast. In the cozy embrace of the morning, we shared our meal in a tranquil hush, the sunlight spilling into the kitchen like a gentle caress. I could sense his gaze lingering on me from time to time, adding an unspoken layer to the moment. Yet I held my tongue, unprepared to explore the intricate layers of the revelations from the night before. He appeared to be more comfortable, more in tune with who he truly was, and I hesitated to disturb the delicate tranquility we had finally uncovered. As the silence was gently shattered, his voice, woven with appreciation, spoke. "Grateful for last night, Mom. That was just what I needed." His unexpected openness caught me off guard. "There's no need for gratitude, Lucas. My presence will remain steadfast by your side through every twist and turn," I offered, my words filled with comfort and assurance. He nodded, yet his gaze held fast, a silent inquiry shimmering in his eyes, reflecting the unvoiced feelings I had been wrestling with. His eyes possessed a profound depth and intensity that reached beyond the warm familiarity of our mother-son connection. As the sun rose, the hours drifted by in a quiet, unremarkable manner. Lucas withdrew to his room, lost in the worlds of homework and video games, while I found myself occupied with the rhythm of household chores, weaving through the fabric of our daily lives. Yet the air that surrounded us had quietly transformed. As the day gracefully slipped into evening, an unseen shift lingered in the air, a subtle tension that spoke volumes of the profound bond that had quietly blossomed between us. My mind wandered back to Lucas, reflecting on his journey from boyhood to young manhood and the bond we had forged during the night prior. As I reflected deeply, it became clear to me that my emotions for him had transformed, surpassing the limits of a mother's affection. As the sun dipped below the horizon and the aroma of dinner lingered in the air, we nestled into the couch, ready to embark on a cinematic journey. In the softly illuminated room, the flickering images on the screen wove a tapestry of shadows that danced playfully across the walls. In the quietude of our togetherness, we found a deep-seated joy, wrapped in the warmth of unspoken words. Yet as the film unfolded, I found myself increasingly attuned to his closeness, the gentle graze of his arm against mine. With every slight movement, my heart raced, and I attempted to immerse myself in the film. Yet the tension between us hung in the air, a quiet orchestra of unvoiced feelings. As the film unfolded, Lucas inched nearer, his arm brushing against mine, a subtle connection in the dim light. This time, he stayed right where he was. The gentle heat of his skin brushed against mine, igniting a spark of realization within me. As I cast a fleeting look his way, our gazes intertwined, creating an unspoken connection between us. His gaze burned with a newfound intensity, mirroring the emotions I had been wrestling with all day, hidden beneath the surface. In a moment that felt almost instinctual, I extended my hand to him, our fingers weaving together seamlessly. He welcomed my touch, squeezing my hand softly, his thumb gliding in gentle circles across my skin. This humble act stirred a delightful flutter within my heart, a feeling that was both known and thrillingly fresh. We lingered in that moment, hands intertwined in the soft glow, a quiet reflection of the evolving nature of our bond. It was a pivotal moment, a silent acknowledgement that rose above the confines of our family dynamics. Uncertainty loomed ahead, yet I could sense the winds of change swirling around me, transforming Lucas into something more than just my son. He was someone I cherished in a manner that eluded all attempts at description. As the final scene faded away, we lingered on the couch, oblivious to the credits that danced across the screen. As I nestled my head against his shoulder, I could sense the rhythmic rise and fall of his chest with each breath he took. It was a subtle act, but it carried a weight of deep connection, a quiet recognition of the bond that was unfolding between us. "Mom," Lucas murmured, his voice soft and barely above a whisper. "Ah, what a joy it is to have you by my side." His words, both unadorned and deeply resonant, mirrored the feelings nestled within my own heart. It filled my heart with warmth to have him here, to savor this unforeseen intimacy. In that moment, a blend of fear and thrill coursed through me. As I rested in the shadows, cradled by the comforting warmth of my son's embrace, a deep understanding enveloped me. The fragile equilibrium of our bond was in flux, poised on the edge of a fresh and unexplored journey. A shiver of unease ran through me, a soft murmur of doubt lingered regarding the implications this change might hold for us. Still, in the midst of uncertainty, a thrilling sense of expectation lingered in the air, a whisper that this was just the first step into uncharted territory. The first light of dawn crept in softly, urging the world to awaken. The gentle fingers of sunlight danced through the curtains, stirring me from my dreams. As I lay beside Lucas in the quiet of the night, he lay in a deep slumber, his expression calm and tranquil, as if the weight of the world had lifted, leaving only the gentle whispers of dreams behind. I observed him for a moment, my heart brimming with a deep, nurturing affection that felt all too familiar. Yet beneath that familiar warmth, an unspoken current flowed, a feeling I struggled to articulate. A peculiar sensation lingered at the fringes of my consciousness, much like the night before, stirring a blend of curiosity and unease within me. With the softest of movements, I eased myself from the warmth of the bed, mindful of the peaceful figure still lost in dreams. I descended the stairs, drawn into the comforting rhythm of preparing breakfast, a ritual that felt like home. As I stood at the stove, flipping pancakes with practiced ease, my mind wandered back to our late-night conversation, weaving through the memories like a gentle breeze through the trees. Lucas had always been a sensitive soul, yet I had not fully understood the profound nature of his internal battle, the way he bore the heavy burden of his father's absence, the weight of his guilt. A secret buried deep within had lingered in the shadows for far too long. It lingered in the depths of my heart, but the tale was far richer than mere weight. In that moment, I sensed a change in him, a deep longing as he nestled into my embrace, seeking a connection that went beyond the ordinary ties of mother and son. And if I were to speak my truth, I too had sensed it, a warmth that enveloped me when I held him, a comfort that transcended mere maternal instinct. I set the thought aside, directing my attention to the task before me. "Heck, he's merely a young lad," I found myself thinking. "Your son." Yet that feeling remained, a constant murmur that would not fade away. At long last, Lucas stirred from his dreams, his hands brushing away the remnants of sleep, his hair a delightful mess, embodying the essence of youthful innocence. In his gaze, there lay a newfound maturity, a whisper of the man he was destined to become. With a warm smile, I welcomed him, trying to conceal the emotions that still echoed from the night before. "Good morning, sleepyhead," I sang, setting a plate of golden pancakes in front of him. As the sun peeked through the curtains, he let out a soft murmur, sinking into his chair with a sense of anticipation, ready to savor each bite of his breakfast. In the gentle embrace of the morning light, we shared our meal, wrapped in a cozy silence that spoke volumes. At times I sensed his gaze upon me, yet I chose to hold my tongue, unprepared to explore the intricate layers of the truths unveiled the night before. He appeared to be in a more comfortable state, more true to himself, and I was reluctant to disturb the delicate harmony we had discovered. At last he shattered the stillness, his words woven with appreciation. "Thanks for last night, Mother. That was essential for me." His unexpected openness caught me off guard. "No need for gratitude from you, Lucas. Through every twist and turn, my presence will remain steadfast by your side," I offered, my words filled with comfort and assurance. He nodded, yet his gaze held on, a silent inquiry reflected in his eyes, echoing the unvoiced feelings I had been wrestling with. His eyes possessed a profound depth and intensity that surpassed the warm familiarity of our mother's gaze. On Sunday, the day meandered along, quiet and unremarkable, as Lucas withdrew to his sanctuary, lost in the worlds of homework and video games. I found myself engaged in the rhythm of household chores, weaving through the fabric of our daily lives. Yet, the air between us had quietly transformed. As the day gracefully slipped into evening, an elusive shift took place. A subtle tension hung in the air, an unvoiced recognition of the profound bond that had blossomed became palpable. My mind wandered back to Lucas, reflecting on his journey from boyhood to young manhood and the bond we had forged during the night prior. As I reflected deeply, it became clear to me that my emotions for him had transformed, surpassing the limits of a mother's affection. As the sun dipped below the horizon and the day began to fade, we found ourselves nestled on the couch, ready to embark on a cinematic journey after our evening meal. In the softly illuminated room, the flickering images on the screen wove a tapestry of shadows that danced playfully across the walls. In the quietude that enveloped us, we found solace, relishing the unspoken bond that thrived in our shared company. As the film unfolded, I found myself increasingly attuned to his closeness, the gentle graze of his arm against mine. With every slight movement, my heart raced, and I struggled to immerse myself in the film, yet the electric tension between us lingered in the air. In the midst of a quiet crescendo of unvoiced feelings, Lucas leaned in, his arm brushing against mine as the film unfolded. This time he stayed right where he was. The gentle heat of his skin pressed against mine ignited a spark of realization within me. As I cast a fleeting look his way, our gazes intertwined in a moment suspended in time. His gaze held a spark of intensity, mirroring the emotions I had been battling to keep at bay throughout the day. In a moment that felt both spontaneous and inevitable, I extended my hand, and as our fingers intertwined, a silent connection blossomed between us. He surrendered to the moment, his hand enveloping mine with a gentle squeeze, his thumb gliding in a tender circle across my skin. That small act stirred something deep within me, a feeling that was both comforting and thrillingly fresh. We lingered in that moment, hands intertwined in the soft glow, a quiet reflection of the evolving nature of our bond. It was a pivotal moment, a silent acknowledgement that rose above the confines of our family dynamics. Uncertainty loomed ahead, yet I sensed a shift in the air. Lucas had transformed, stepping beyond the bounds of merely being my son. He was an enigma, a figure I cherished in a manner that transcended mere words. The film reached its conclusion, yet we lingered on the couch, oblivious to the credits unfurling before us. As I rested my head on his shoulder, I could sense the rhythmic rise and fall of his chest with each breath he took. It was a small gesture, yet it carried a weight of intimacy, a quiet recognition of the bond that was beginning to flourish between us. "Mom," Lucas leaned in close, his voice a soft murmur that danced on the edge of silence. "Ah, how wonderful it is to have you by my side." His words, both unadorned and deeply resonant, mirrored the feelings that dwelled within my own heart. A wave of relief washed over me at his presence, a sense of joy for this unanticipated bond. This fresh connection stirred both fear and excitement within me, and in that moment, after what seemed like an eternity, a spark ignited within me, making me feel vibrantly alive. In that moment, everything was clear, free from doubt or remorse, revealing the unfiltered essence of our love. It was a love forged through countless moments of trust and understanding, a bond that transcended even the ties of blood. It was a love that flowed effortlessly, as essential as the air we breathe, and as certain as the dawn breaking each day. In the quiet aftermath of our entwined souls, we found ourselves enveloped in a serene stillness, the only sound being the gentle cadence of our breaths mingling in the air. Lucas finally drew his gaze away, his eyes searching mine with a warmth that melted my heart. "Is everything all right with us?" he inquired, his voice a soft whisper that danced through the shadows. I nodded, momentarily silenced as my heart brimmed with feelings that transcended mere language. "Indeed," I murmured, my voice heavy with the weight of untold stories. "Are we good?" As the evening wore on and the last traces of dinner were tidied up, the house embraced a serene stillness. It was then that Lucas and I took our places on the back porch, wrapped in the soothing calm of the night. The air was crisp and cool, while the stars sparkled like diamonds strewn across the endless expanse of the night sky. After weeks of burden, a wave of relief washed over me, as if the heavy weight that had been holding me down was finally lifted. Our silence spoke volumes, weaving a tapestry of understanding that needed no words. Just the act of being close to him, basking in the serene charm of the night, was all that was needed. In that moment, time seemed to stand still, wrapped in a gentle embrace of tranquility where the quiet held 1,000 unspoken words. What we had was blossoming naturally, and I found joy in simply allowing it to develop as the petals unfurl in their own time. He reached for my hand, his touch igniting a warmth that coursed through me like a raging fire. With a soft smile, I gently squeezed his hand, and we lingered in that moment together. Our relationship unfolded into something exquisite, something that satisfied a longing we hadn't even realized existed. On a rainy afternoon in late autumn, the depth of our love finally dawned on me, enveloping me like the gentle patter of raindrops against the window. The sky loomed overhead, a tapestry woven with stormy grays as the rain tapped a steady beat against the windows. Lucas and I nestled together on the couch in the living room, where a fire danced in the hearth, its warm glow enveloping us in a cozy embrace. As we nestled beneath the blanket, the fire crackled softly, its warmth enveloping us while the storm raged outside, making our little sanctuary feel all the more precious. Lucas leaned against me, his head nestled on my shoulder. As I absent-mindedly ran my fingers through his hair, cherishing the serene closeness of the moment. The rain-drenched windows softened the view beyond, wrapping us in a cocoon of solitude, as if we were adrift in our own private realm. His breathing slowed, a steady rhythm that echoed the unspoken understanding between us. I sensed the shift in our connection, an undeniable pull drawing us towards something deeper, something more profound. He raised his gaze, locking eyes with me, and in that instant, the essence of our love echoed in the space between us. It was more than mere love. It was a bond that surpassed the conventional roles we had once embraced, a connection that blossomed into something profound, something impossible to ignore. "Mom," he murmured, his voice heavy with feeling. I held my breath, poised in anticipation, aware that his next words would alter the course of our lives forever. "I love you," he admitted, his hand extending to grasp mine. "It's not just because you're my mom, but because of the essence of who you are, every little thing about you. I'm not sure if it's right or wrong, but I can't fight these feelings." His words enveloped me like a gentle tide, saturating the space with a love that stirred my heart in the most exquisite manner. As I stood there, I could feel the weight of his emotions swirling around us. But when he finally spoke, when he laid bare the depths of his heart, it transformed everything into a vivid reality. As I held his hand, I could sense the unwavering pulse of his heartbeat resonating softly against my fingertips. "Lucas," I murmured, my voice quivering just a touch. "My heart echoes your sentiment. My affection for you has always been profound, yet this feeling transcends all that came before." He nodded, his gaze probing into mine, seeking the comfort of reassurance, the answer to the silent question that lingered in the air between us. As I spoke, uncertainty lingered in the air, yet a sense of shared emotion coursed through me, and it felt undeniably right. A gentle smile graced his lips, and my heart blossomed with a joy I had never experienced before. "I'm truly relieved to hear that," he murmured, "for I can't imagine how I'd cope if it were otherwise." I lifted my hand, gently tracing the contours of his cheek, savoring the warmth that radiated from his skin under my touch. "Together, we'll unravel this mystery," I offered him comfort. In that quiet moment we sat together, enveloped in silence. Our eyes met, the world around us fading into silence, save for the soft rhythm of the rain and the warm crackle of the fire. Words felt superfluous. All the words that hung in the air had been spoken, leaving no stone unturned. We were acutely aware of our feelings, and there was no mistaking their authenticity, an undeniable truth that bound us with a deliberate grace. Lucas drew closer, his gaze locked onto mine, and softly, with a touch of uncertainty, he pressed his lips against mine. It was a gentle, heartfelt kiss, brimming with the affection and yearning we had kept hidden for what felt like an eternity. In that moment, time seemed to stand still, allowing our profound bond to unfold naturally, free from haste or pressure. As he withdrew, his gaze brimmed with feeling, and I realized we had stepped into a new realm, an irreversible moment. Yet rather than dread, a wave of tranquility washed over me, a deep knowing that this was our destined place. He drew me nearer, his arms enveloping me, and we clung to one another as the rain poured down, the fire casting a gentle warmth over our embrace. In that fleeting moment, in the face of whatever trials awaited us, I felt a deep certainty that we would confront them side by side. The remainder of the evening unfolded like a dream, filled with tender caresses, hushed exchanges, and sweet, lingering kisses. We left the future and the implications of our newfound love unspoken, like a secret waiting to be unveiled. In that fleeting instant, nothing else held significance. It was the closeness we shared, wrapped in the soft embrace of the rain's tranquil melody. It was astonishing to witness the swift evolution of our relationship. As Lucas transformed from a boy into a man, our connection blossomed into an unforeseen, exquisite relationship, one that felt just right for both of us. That night, Lucas entered my room once more, and this time there was an unmistakable confidence in his step. He ascended into the bed next to me, his arms encircling me, drawing me in tight. It lacked the warm, reassuring hug that one might expect between a mother and her child. It was the tender embrace of lovers, equals, two souls beautifully intertwined in a dance of connection. As I nestled my head against his chest, The gentle cadence of his heartbeat enveloped me, creating a harmonious melody of affection and tranquility. A wave of tranquility washed over me, a wholeness I had long forgotten. I found myself lost in the shadows. No matter what this was, no matter how it had transformed, I stood prepared to embrace it. Lucas and I had always shared a bond, but now we found ourselves in a realm beyond mere friendship, in uncharted territory that eluded simple explanation. We were partners, lovers, two souls intertwined in a love that soared beyond the confines of the ordinary. As I surrendered to the embrace of slumber, a smile danced upon my lips. It was wild, I realized, yet it brought an incredible thrill. What lessons did you learn from the story's journey? Share your insights and reflections in the comments section below. Your opinion is very important. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video to encourage more meaningful discussions. Thank you for watching.